everybody, and welcome to Tuesday's Top Tips, where today I'm letting you know that I do it better than you do. My way is better than your way. Why I stopped doing traditional consultations. So I want to dive into that because a lot of you are out there, your schedules are filled up, your calendar's filled up with consultation calls, monthly reviews, you name it. And I'm exhausted thinking about that you're doing that because I did it before. And I did it at a high scale. So we're going to talk about that today. So before anybody gets offended, let me explain what I mean. I'm not saying that you're doing it wrong. I'm just saying there might be a better way. There might be a better system on how you're doing it. Maybe even one that your clients will like better, but also your life will like better. So we'll dive into that. The reason I'm passionate about this topic is because for years, guys, many years, I've been doing this for 23 years. And it was just over the last few years that I changed the way I did business. So I'm going to take you back a little bit. When I first got into business, I actually was a face-to-face organization. So you had to come into my office and get consultations with me. And those would last usually around an hour, 2 hours. And we had to dress up, we had to plan it. And, hopefully they came into the appointment, you name it, we did that. That's just the way that business was done. And I remember having a business coach, and the business coach said, Allie, if you want to grow and scale your business, you can't do it this way. There's only so many hours in a day. So if you're spending an hour to 2 hours per consultation, how many can you get done in a day, right? And so as I was digesting that, I remember saying, why would anybody want to buy from me? Because he should adjusted phone consultations. Why would anybody want to buy from me if they can't see me and talk to me, like building a rapport, that know, like, and trust that you guys hear me talk about all the time? So it really stumped me. And it was a hard pill to swallow when he really pushed me into the phone consultation. So years go by, going to phone consultations, I got really good at that, right? And so that's where a lot of you guys are at right now today. You're like, I do phone consultations or I do Zoom consultations, and they work fabulously. Yes, they do. It worked for me. I scaled and grew a number of credit repair businesses off of phone consultations. I know they work. I did it. But then TSR became a big thing, right? Everybody started talking about it. And at that moment, I chose to do something different. I chose to see if there was a better way. And so in thinking about that, I thought about Zoom, I thought about, you name it, coming back to face-to-face, like, how can I do this and not go against TSR and, all those things. I'm sure some of you have circled that around in your mind as well. And when I thought about it and I started thinking like, oh, so now we can't do our consultations over the phone. We have to do them online. Like, who's going to buy from me online? Was my initial thought. Like, how can I build know, like, and trust online? And I laughed at myself as soon as those words came out of my mouth, because that is exactly what I said when I went from face-to-face to phone consultations. So then I analyzed that and I said, okay, if I've said this before and I was wrong, could I not indeed be wrong today that people need to talk to me on the phone? And so that's what we're going to dive in today. I found not only do people not need to talk to me on the phone, but they actually don't even want to. Now, some of you guys are already saying, oh, yes, my clients, they want me to call them all the time. They're always calling me. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. I'm going to tell you why your clients call you all the time. I'm going to talk to you about why people want to call you in the first place to do a consultation. Might be a broken system. Okay, so we'll dive into that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my PowerPoint slide. So I stopped doing traditional consultation calls many years ago with the whole big talk of TSR. And it was really probably the best thing that I've ever done for my business. It allowed me to grow and scale a lot faster. But more than anything, it gave me my life back. Guys, I enjoy now working. I don't care how many clients I have. I'm okay with that because I have it easy now. But not only do I have it easier because the way that I have changed how I do business, but my clients are happier. Now think about that for a second. If I could show you how you can serve your clients 5 minutes per month per client, and they actually like you better, their outcomes and the results are better, would you follow me? Because I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? And so let's dive into it right now. So the first thing I want to ask you is, do you think there might be a better way? Do you believe me? So I will say that there are many software developers who have contacted me since seeing my process, which I call Mastering Online Consultations, who have taken that class, who have taken that information and built software around it. So when TSR came out, I was the first to the market with how to do online consultations. And a lot of the models that you see out there were modeled off of my exact process. So I'm going to show you that today, but I don't want to just show you something, because the fault of software is that we create software, but we don't give an explanation. So we think it works because it just works, because someone else did it and it works. But I'm going to show you why it works, how it works, and what you can do. Okay, so that's what I promise. So first of all, the traditional model is broken. So I want you to think about this really quickly, like really think about this. How many times have you explained utilization? How many times have you explained collections? How many times have you told someone to stop applying for credit? How many evenings have you spent on Zoom or other phone calls instead of spending time with your family? If you know my story, I would get up at 3:30 in the morning. I would do my workout, my journaling, my reading. I still do that today. But then about 5 o'clock, 5 to 5:30, I was in my office, and honestly probably didn't leave that place until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night to go to bed and repeat. And I would do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I literally didn't have a life. Matter of fact, most of the time I didn't eat anything during that time because I couldn't. I was like back-to-back consultations, right? I'm on the phone. So I used to tell my husband, hey, if you come home, if you can put some food on my desk, because otherwise I probably won't eat today. And so when he had the opportunity to do that, he would do that. So that was my life. I don't want any of you guys to have that life. I was blessed to have served so many people and helped so many people get into a home loan, because that was my niche. But I sacrificed my own life for that. So what I'm telling you today is you can have your cake and eat it too. You can serve people and help them get to their big goals and feel very accomplished in your life, but also have a life. So that's what we're going to discover today. So if you find yourself repeating things over and over and over again, and you're like so over that, and I hope you are, because you should be. You shouldn't be repeating things over and over again. That's a broken system. Then let's dive into what that looks like in our next few slides here. I wrote some notes. I want to make sure I keep on track with you guys. So this is my challenge to you. Clients don't want meetings. They want answers. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. If you were to provide them with the answers, do you think they'd ever want to have a call with you? Do you think they'd ever need to have a call with you? Do you think they really want to figure out when they can schedule a call with you? I can promise you they don't. They don't want you on their calendar. Just as much as you don't want your calendar filled, other than the fact that filling your calendar makes you feel like you're productive and successful. The fact is we would be happier people if we had less on our calendar, right? Less scheduled times away from our family. And so they're the same. You know, if you think about it, if you honestly look at your consultations and think about where they're at during those consultation calls, you're going to discover the pain there. So let's think about it there. A lot of times when I would do a consultation, the person's at work. And here's a conversation. Hey, I'm at work. Shh, I have to be quiet so my boss doesn't see me, right? Or there's many people who were a call center. So they're talking to me and they're like, hold on. Call center. Ordering McDonald's, picking their kids up from school because they are busy just like you and I. And so we're trying to make the contacts with them during the times that they're really busy. And then when they're not busy, if we try to contact them during that time, they're done, they're spent, they're tired, right? And so my point of that is they don't want that as much as you don't want that. And the fact is that I was really successful with consultations over the phone. I'm not going to say that I wasn't. I absolutely was. But I think back on it, how many interruptions I did in someone's life and how many times I was on the phone on hold because they had to go do something else. So they weren't really getting what I was saying. And so that causes issues later, compliance issues, all kinds of issues, because I might have said, here's how my business works, and they didn't hear it, right? And so what I'm going to show you today is a better way of doing it. What if you can answer their questions, get them to sign up, never look at a credit report, provide them with the actions they need to take and help them along the way, 5 minutes per client per month. And you have really happy clients, super happy clients. They're getting to their goal. That's all they care about. So my point of this is, the honest truth is, if they have the answers, they don't want the call. They don't want the appointment. If a client wants to have a call with you, it's because you haven't answered the questions or you haven't built the trust. And I know that might be a hard pill to swallow if you're like, oh, my clients are always wanting to call with me. It's probably in the way that you talk. So I'm going to give you an example really quickly. If someone wanted my services today, oftentimes it's either from an email referral or it's a DM or some kind of thing like that. My comment back is a video. And the video is me explaining what my services are and how I help. And then to get started. They get started on the consultation. It's never free. They do the consultation. I get paid for the consultation. The consultation is really just them getting their credit report, telling what their goal is. I analyze that through level of score. I have a plan for them. I'm not on that consultation, guys. Guys, please just stop doing this. Please stop doing this. Going down their credit report, telling them how bad their credit report is. Guys, I already know that, right? We talk about helping people discover their pain points. That's the wrong one. The pain point that we want to help someone discover is what's keeping you from getting to your goal. What does that look like and how does that feel? And then here's the solution. How would that feel if we got to the solution? How would that make you feel? That's what we need to do. And then help them visualize getting there. That's our job in this consultation process. We discover the pain, the why, the pain around that why. We help with solutions. We have the solution, we have the journey, and we help them visualize that they can actually reach that. And then we can say, would you like to get started? And I'll say that for me in my business, doing that as an online consultation, meaning I'm recording myself talking. This means I'm not deep diving on their credit report. I'm not asking them questions. I don't need them to answer questions and explain what's on their credit report. Not until we get started. Okay. All I need at this point is I need to know a why and a big why. And then I can help you. Okay. And so if you change the way that you talk to people and let them know that you're there to assist them, you need to look at their credit, you need to know their goal, and then you do what I just said. Consultation is big why. What's the pain of not getting that why? The solution, and how is that going to feel if we get that why? And helping them visualize them actually being able to do it. I've said this a million times. Sometimes people trust that you know what they need to do to get to the goal, but they don't trust themselves that they can do it. And so you have to have both of those got to marry each other. They have to be together. And so you do that in the consultation process. It's not a consultation process where you're talking to the client, hey, what happened here? What's going on here? None of that matters. Honestly, people do not care about the negative things on the credit report. They care about what it caused keeping them from getting to their goal. That's all. If they could have negative credit and get to their goal, they're going to do it all day long. They'll never call you. They'll never want your service. The reason that they're even having the conversation with you is because they didn't get something they wanted. And someone told them it had something to do with their credit. Okay. So if you lead with the credit report, you're failing the person for multiple reasons that I'm not going to get into, but you guys know my strategy called the Borrower Readiness Partnership. That's the real reason. Okay. But when we're talking about the online consultation, we're talking about the idea of we don't have to have a consultation going line by line over their credit report, showing them how bad their credit is and all the things that we're going to do to fix it. They don't care. Matter of fact, you're talking and they're doing something else while you're talking. Guaranteed 100%. Okay. And so the system's broken. They just want to understand what's happening. They want to know what's next. They want to feel confident in the process. They want to feel like they can do it, you can do it, and that they can get the information they need. They want transparency. So even like beyond the online consultation, let's say you're having monthly reviews and you're doing those over the phone, also broken system. You don't need to do those on the phone, nor do they want to do them on the phone. And I can tell you, and you know this, because how many times have you tried to get someone to schedule their appointment to do your review? How many times have they scheduled and then you call them at the review time and they aren't there? They don't want that. We're in a new age and people aren't even realizing it. We don't want to talk to people on the phone. We don't. And we don't want to Zoom. Right? And so how can we deliver what we need to deliver to consumers in a better way? Right? And so that's what the online consultation is. So we can deliver more consistent experience for the clients by doing the online consultation, because we can have a flow of how that works, right? I just told you my flow. My flow is, what is your big why? What's the pain around not getting that why? What's the solution? Do I have a journey for them that will provide the solution to their why and helping them visualize that they can reach that goal? That's my framework. And that's what I do in every single video, right? So it's real easy. So it's very consistent. It's a very consistent experience across the board. Every client gets the same type of video. It reduces that repetitive work that I have to do. I'm not going over the credit report. What's this? Utilization should be this, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's boring. It's no fun after you've done it so many times. But it allows your team to scale, because now I can grow and grow and grow. 5 minutes per month per client. Think of how many clients just by myself I can handle. But if I teach this framework to someone else on my team, they don't have to know anything about credit at all to onboard someone into our process. Why do they not need to know? Because we're not going over the credit report. That's not the time to go over the credit report, right? Why? What's your big why? What's the pain around not getting your why? What's the solution that I can provide for you and help you visualize that you can actually do it? That's it. So anyone can do that in my organization, right? By teaching the skills of the framework. So now I can scale faster. I free up time for my business growth. I'm not on the phone. You're not going to see my calendar full, right? It's not me, but I will get the clients in. Improve your client's accountability, because recommendations are documented and reviewed. You have transparency in Level Up Score's action plans. So this is where it comes to, when we go to okay, we're going to do the online consultation process and now they've signed up. We run that through Level Up Score. It's going to tell us exactly what the client needs to do to get to their goal, right? And they get to talk to us about each of those items. We get to ask them questions and they get to answer on their time, when they want to, when they can. Not on a phone call. Not on a phone call. The results are better. The results are faster. Clients do the things on their action plan. We're not chasing them. It's transparent. They don't have the buyer's remorse, because as soon as they sign up, they're getting their action plan and they're wowed by it because it's beautiful, but it's also, they're wowed by it because they had a big goal. And the simple fact is they just didn't know how to get there. And when they get the action plan and it tells them exactly what they need to do to get there, it's like a big weight has been pulled off of their shoulders and they can get to work with our support, with our guidance, with our coaching. And that's when they don't need to talk to you anymore. That's when you can communicate inside the action plan on the specific trade lines to help them move forward and to help you better serve them, right? And that's the business benefits that come with the online consultations and doing the reviews in this way. And that's what I teach in Level Up Score. And that's what we're going to do on this coming Wednesday, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to dive in and see this in real time, you can. You can also comment consult. That's what we'll do. Comment consult. And I'll give you information about the online consultation class. You can take the full class and get a real good breadth of what we do, including scripts and everything, what I do. But also we have that class on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Strategy class. Call is going to be centered around how do we do online consultations? What does that look like? How do we do reviews? So you'll be able to dive into that. And then if you aren't using Level Up Score, we'll show you how to get on Level Up Score so you can utilize that tool to help you make this happen faster and better and easier so that you can get to your business. Okay. So every recommendation in your action plan obviously is going to be documented. Every step is reviewable for them on their time when they're able to. Every team member can follow the same framework if we do it this way. That means you can sell, you can scale, you can hire, you can grow your business, you can take a vacation, you can travel like I do, right? You can spend time with your family. What a beautiful gift to give yourself. You can work on the business instead of constantly working in it like I was. So one of my favorite quotes I'm going to read to you is, your calendar should reflect your highest value activities, not your most repetitive ones. How about that? So if you look at my calendar, it's like the first part of the day is with my family, doing things with my family, right? So your calendar should reflect your highest value activities, not your most repetitive ones. So think about that. If something is repetitive, it probably belongs in a system. If you don't have a system for it, your system's broken. Okay. So really it's about thinking about all of this in a different mindset. So instead of asking, when can I schedule your review? Maybe you can start thinking about questions you can be asking yourself on how you can make your process better. And so maybe ask, how can we provide the clearest, most effective guidance in the most convenient way for the client? This is where I talk all the time about feedback and refine. Have we talked to our clients? Have we asked them what they want from us? Have we made sure our communication is clear? Do our clients know how our process works? Like I said from the beginning, if you were to email me today needing my services, you're going to get an email right back with a video of me talking to you about what I do, about how I understand you, about how we can get started. And then they're going to sign up for credit monitoring, which allows me at that point in time to do a consultation, not a free consultation. Don't do those anymore. Consultation. And then from the consultation, I'm doing that 3-step process. It's on a video, right? Did I say 3 steps? I think it's 4. So we have, what's your big why? What's the pain around not getting that why? What are the solutions? And that doesn't mean I'm spitting out, here's what I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I never do that. It's, what if I were to tell you that I have a journey for you and I can provide you with all the steps to reach your goal? And a lot of people have gone through my service and done the same thing. How would that feel to you? How would it feel if we went through this journey together, just like so many of my other clients, and at the end of the journey, you got the keys to your house and you got to walk into your house and take your kids into their bedrooms to kind of help them visualize that whole process? Some of you might have been where I speak on this, where I had a gentleman who was trying to buy a home or wanted to buy a home. His credit was shot and he was getting denied. And I asked him what his big why was. Why do you want to buy a house? I know that sounds weird, guys. When I asked why, when he told me why he wanted to get his credit fixed, he said buy a house. And I asked why. Because I need to find the deeper why. And so the deeper why for him was, he didn't feel like a man. He didn't feel like a good father. He didn't feel like a good husband. He felt like, in his words, a failure. So then I can speak on that when I'm going through my consultation, and I can say, hey, I've reviewed your credit report. Thank you for providing me with that. And I feel you. I understand that. Your big why. You want to buy a house. And because you can't, it has made you feel like you're a failure for your kids, for your wife. I get that. And I can't imagine how that might feel. But I wonder if I had the solution, if I were to put a journey together for you, which I've done for many, many, many of my clients in the past, a journey to get you to your goal, where you actually get the keys at the end of the journey. How would that feel? What if we got to the end of the journey and you got the keys to your house and you're walking up to the house, you got your baby girl in your arms, you open up the door, you walk down the hallway, you open up her bedroom door and you go, what color do you want to paint your room? That's a visualization I gave him. I don't know what he had in his head. I don't even know if he had it in his head. To be honest with you, I don't think he did. I think that he had a goal and he had a why and he felt like a failure, but he had no idea what it looks like not to be a failure, or a better word, to have reached his goal. He didn't know what that actually looked like because he had never seen anyone else do it. So sometimes you have to help them visualize it actually happening. And that's what I do. And I say, if you want to get started today, I would love to be a part of your journey. I'll put a plan together for you. It'll tell us exactly what needs to happen, what we need to do, what you need to do. I'll support you. I'll coach you. We'll make sure you get there. So if you want to get started, click below. There's option 1 and option 2. I always get 2 options, guys. Option 1, you can go through my do-it-yourself program. Option 2, you can do full service. This is the option most people do. And I tell the pricing and I tell how my system works in that video, right? It's my script. It's what I say at the end of every video, right? Consistently giving and delivering the same experience. It's recorded. And then I send that to them. And 9 out of 10 times a person clicks on the full service, by the way, and get started. And the other ones who don't click on the do-it-yourself program, and it's almost like a year to date later that they actually go into the full service. And then you'll have a couple who won't do anything. And when I find out and deep dive into that, because I do the feedback and refine that I keep telling you guys about, I find out they simply couldn't afford it. And that's okay too. Not everyone's going to be able to afford you, and you're not going to be able to help everybody. If a person struggles to get $1 and you're in credit, you're trying to help them with their credit to buy a house, we need to solve the dollar problem before we can ever solve the buy the house problem. And so there, you can compile resources. If you have a lot of people who are coming to you in circumstances like that, you can compile resources for them where they can go for that help. That's not you, and that's okay. You're not going to be able to do everything, nor should you. You should be an expert in what you do, though. You should be an expert in what you do, and you should be able to get people to the promised land. And so that's the point of it. So maybe thinking of a different way. How can I help my clients better? So if you are interested in the full class, Mastering Online Consultations, a lot of software developers have taken that class, called me and said, hey, Allie, can I steal this from you? This is good stuff. Yes, I always said, because I want to help you guys help your clients better, but also be able to grow and scale. People need you. And if you're suffering because your calendar's full, not as many people can reach you. So Mastering Online Consultations is a full class with the resources on how to put this together, including scripts and everything that I use in my business, which has helped me grow and scale my businesses. And so that class is available to you. You just comment consult and we'll get that information to you. And then join me at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. And I have a QR code for that, so you can scan it if you want to register for that. That's Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'll deep dive into this again on Mastering Online Consultations and your review process. Answer questions around, if you're having clients that say that they always want to talk to you. Like I had people call me, they're like, Allie, when I do it, everyone's like, I just want to talk to you. They don't want to do anything until they talk to me. That's not an option in my business. And so if it's not an option, I have to solve for that. So if you think about things that way, if you have a higher standard for your business and you say certain things are not an option. So for me, free consultations, not an option. If I have a higher standard for myself, I can convey that message to that higher standard, and guess what's going to happen? I'm not going to have anybody push back on a free consultation. Matter of fact, I don't think anybody even asked me for a free consultation because I think they already know it's not going to be free, because that's the way that I talk, right? So part of it's how are we conveying our message? Are we confident enough to have standards in our business and stick to them and it's not an option anyway. Like I said in the beginning, when everyone started to be all scared about TSR, I decided one day to start doing online consultations. I didn't know how it was going to work. Matter of fact, I was scared it wasn't going to work. Remember, I went from face-to-face to phone calls. I didn't think that was going to work. It did. It worked really, really well. I was able to grow a lot faster. And so when I got to this idea of the online consultations, like, well, it might not work. And I thought, shut up, Allie. You don't know, because you don't know. And you thought the same thing when you went from face-to-face to phone, right? And then when it worked, it was like, holy cow. But I turned off the option of phones instantly. So one day I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, if we're going to figure out if online consultations work, I'm going to have to burn the boats and just learn how online consultations can work. And then I figured it out. And yes, did it take brainstorming? Yes, did it take developing something? Yes, it did. I'm going to show you guys that. You're going to be able to develop that for yourself. It's very easy, but I did it all for you. I tested it. Other software companies are currently today using my model, so it works. I just wonder if you're going to apply it. So to get started, you have two options. Number one, you have Mastering Online Consultations class. Comment consult below. We'll get you that information. And number two, you can join me for a deep dive in that on Wednesday. That's tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We'll talk about it. I still encourage you to take the class, but you got two options. Okay. I appreciate you all. Have an amazing day. And I hope this helped you realize there's always a different way and maybe even a better way to do our business. But you need to think about, feedback and refine, discover new ways of doing things better and faster. Thank you.